Okay, I just want to clarify something regarding my last video, because I got at least 20 different comments, all saying the exact same thing in different words. They accused me of going into the movie expecting to see some great Oscar-caliber movie with brilliant acting like The Shawshank Redemption, and was disappointed that it was just a good old-time popcorn flick, and that it was not meant to be taken seriously. It was just a big dumb Hollywood action movie, and that I'm just supposed to appreciate it for what it is. And nothing could be further from the truth. I went into this movie lowering my expectations as much as I possibly could. I mean, I did not lower them far enough, obviously, but I mean, I went in there just like, you know, this is just going to be, if I just shut my brain off, I'll get through this. But what I'm saying is that I know it's supposed to be a big Hollywood action movie with lots of kick-ass special effects and action scenes, oh my! But I'm saying it failed even at that. Okay? Like, here's one person. No one goes to Transformers for the fucking storyline. I agreed the storyline was shit, but fighting robots and tits, Megan Fox is hot. I could care less about her jokes and shit. Best movie since Iron Man. Fighting robots and explosions and tits don't automatically put a level at the movie of like just barely acceptable level. A movie can have all of those things and still fall below the minimum threshold of an acceptable movie. Best movie since Iron Man. Iron Man is a perfect example of a big dumb Hollywood action movie that's actually pretty good. You don't have to sit there and overanalyze it and be philosophical about it, but it wasn't obnoxious in its stupidity or its plot holes, or the director actually knows how to direct an action scene. That's one of the, oh, I went to see it for the action. That's fine, but Michael Bay doesn't know how to direct an action scene. It's all like super close-ups, and you can barely tell what the hell is even going on half the time. I mean, the action scenes are just so poorly directed. The effects were not that impressive at all. Another person says, come on dude, it's blah 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 blah, fucking explosions epically. No, Michael Bay cannot direct a movie. It's based on a cartoon concocted to sell toys. Take it what it's not. Simple storyline full of action. Sorry you expected To Kill a Mockingbird. I didn't expect To Kill a Mockingbird, but I would have been happy with an Iron Man, or an X-Men 1, or an X-Men 2, or a Superman 1, 2, or 5. Or any big dumb Hollywood action movie that's actually halfway decent. But what I'm saying is this just wasn't one of them. This person says the problem is that it's a kid's movie and adults have high expectations of it being catered to them, but it wasn't. I mean, come on, a robot named Bumblebee, for Christ's sake. Here's another thing. The Transformers came out in the early 80s, so kids, you know, kids who watched it were 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years old when it first came out in the early 80s, are in their 20s and 30s now. If they in fact made this movie for kids, and by kids I'm assuming they mean between the ages of like 8 and 14 or whatever they mean by kids, then they were stupid morons who did not understand the demographic appeal of their own movie. They did not make this to cater exclusively to young kids. They made it, you know, acceptable for kids that age, but they did not make this movie to be a kid's movie, and if they did, they're total morons. This person says, thought it was brilliant. I love seeing Optimus Prime at the big screen in an all-out action summer slam. And another person, the visual effects were amazing in capital letters. Well, you're easily impressed. You think the movie is bad or the 80s, blah, 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 blah. One person says, you completely exaggerate this movie. You only listen to the media's opinion, not the public's opinion. You know, it's things like being told that this movie is great, which makes me have nothing but contempt for the public opinion. I didn't listen to critics' movies as I explicitly stated in the video. I saw this movie for myself. I don't know why they didn't catch that part. Other people reiterated, oh, it's for kids. It's not for fucking kids alone. They had to make a movie that would appeal to a broad age range. So if it's obnoxious to people my age who grew up on Transformers, then they're simply isolating a huge part of their audience built on nostalgia. That's just a crap argument. The effects were not that impressive. The battle scenes were poorly directed and executed. And so all of these things compounded to just make an utter shit movie. It's not just that it had plot holes. It's not just that the dialogue was crap or the acting was crap or that any of these things. It's like the places it was supposed to work, it didn't work. Let me explain this for you. If you have an action scene and the audience has no investment in the characters whatsoever, then no matter how big the explosions are or how kick-ass it is, it's not going to make a difference. If you're sitting there and you're watching, and you could give a shit less if every single one of the characters on screen dies, then you have no emotional investment in it, and there's it just has no impact. It's just sound and fury signifying nothing. And that's what the battle scenes were in this movie, on top of being poorly executed, because I didn't give a shit about a single one of the characters or whether they lived or died. They all could have just been hit by a nuke and just been annihilated in 1 second. And I was like, oh well, and got up and got out of the theater. It was really that lame. And so this movie failed where so many other movies succeeded. And the whole, oh, it's based on toys, it's for kids, those are all cop-outs. There is absolutely no excuse when so many other people have been able to make successful, big dumb Hollywood action movies without them having be obnoxiously sucking. Okay, so all of these people that are making all of these excuses for the movie, I mean, come on, just accept that it was bad. Another thing was that people wanted to call me a loser for going to a movie with my mother. But I'm sorry, but when you actually become an adult and you start to realize that, your parents aren't going to be around forever, spending time with them becomes important. And all that shows when you try and attack somebody for something like that is that you're an immature jackass who's probably 14 and still lives with their parents, and therefore, they're at that age when being seen with your parents is the most uncool thing ever. So fuck those people.